Hello, I want to make a video discussing some things I've been thinking about. Just an updated analysis of everything I've been thought about before. This isn't antinatalism related if you're into that. This is more just cosmic stuff, so like Genesis. Like, what is the first thing? What is a thing? What is existence? A feeling. What is a feeling? What is value? All of these kinds of stuff. So, I think if you're going to tackle anything down to the most fundamental level, you also have to say, like, what is logic? And is language sufficient to express or communicate knowledge or truth in the most deep fundamental level possible? So for me, logic, see, I have notes here. I've been writing some stuff just to help myself out since it's pretty long.
Wrote this one comes from the pain of it all.
Sorry, it's a text message. Should turn that off. Anyways, so yeah. So what is logic? All right. I'm going to read some stuff. Okay, logic is basically like a conveyor belt, or like in a factory. It models reality or deals in abstractions based on premises, C's. The default is nothingness, where there is no thing. Bad premises or faulty gears make a bad, incorrect assessment, but they can still be fed through the machine of logic. What are the components of logic? Evidence, premises, inference, and or deduction. The abstraction in place of no evidence, things, i.e. premises, is a default of nothingness, no thing. Left we have deduction. What is nothingness? Non-thing, no thing, void. Do we need to picture nothingness to accept it as the default? There is no picture, there is no reference. There is no thing. When we try to frame nothingness, we're assuming there is a frame. We're assuming there is a reference. There is no thing. So, what are words? I think words are a representation. So, the representation for what we assume to be a thing. Existence, basically, or abstractions, even, in existence. Is there a true abstraction if there was existence? I don't know, that's a question in itself. So, how can I express what I'm saying with words as representation? There is no thing. Thus, the expression. So, what is deduction? Questions that lead to base facts, or a default, in place of a thing. Assumption, apparentness, isness. So basically questions that lead to the most fundamental default formula you can get to without assuming anything. So that's all you have when you don't have premises, whatever you want to say. That's the default. It's nothingness. It's just it's leading to it's just questions of what we have already laid down, and says, what is the most certain thing I can possibly know to be true? A feeling is a feeling. No thing is no thing. A thing is undefined. Nothingness is nothingness. It is anti-defined, if you want to say that. It is nothingness. It's anti-thing. What is a thing must be defined. Default is nothing, no thing. A feeling is all we truly know, next to complete. Deductive reasoning of the impossibility of existence. So, existence must be concluded as impossible if we are to say there is no thing. A void remains a void because it is a void. I know this might be a lot to comprehend if you've never heard of this stuff or thought about it on such a fundamental level, but I have, so I can do it for you. I can probably show you some things in the description, lead you to some things that, maybe might flesh it out a bit more for you, because this is just a small video and I'm imperfect in expressing maybe what I want to express. So I've written some more stuff here that fleshes it out from the beginning, using logic and reasoning as our tool of deductive reasoning. So we have no premises, we're not assuming anything, and default is nothingness. That's what I'm leading to. That's my conclusion anyways. So I'm using deductive reasoning pretty much as the only tool, I think, and words as representation. So that only goes so far. Once I get to the conclusion, it's expressionless. What is a thing? Existence itself. A thing on the most fundamental level. Quanta, matter, energy. How do we know? Sense-based premise, that our experience is a tool for discovering reality. What is reality? How would we know if our premise is wrong? Logic and deduction. What is the first thing? Cause and effect. It just is? Isn't good enough. A feeling is all we truly know. Say that. The second most fundamental default to existence is nothingness. To prove and or know what the default is, we either must prove existence through logic and reasoning absolutely, or we must conclude that existence is impossible. Likewise, that there is no thing. Error code? There is no thing. How do I prove that? How can I say it? A void remains a void because it is a void. Nothingness is nothingness because it is nothingness. There is simply no thing. A feeling is a feeling. No thing is no thing. The final revelation is death. Complete realization is total obliteration. The self is void, the devoid of self. Apparentness isness. That is all. Eternity is down the rabbit hole. Chaos. Define chaos as the thing itself. Oblivion. No names. What? Nothing says. Dot. Expressionlessness. That's the conclusion. It's a dot. It's what? And then it's a dot. So it's no thing. See. That's my conclusion. This is everything I've thought about up until now. So if you're gonna, I think the only way to tackle this kind of this line of reasoning is to tackle reasoning itself in language. So basically, all you're left with now is like, is language sufficient? Is logic sufficient to know the truth? Is there any uncertainty if there is uncertainty? Can we know the truth? That is the most fundamental question. And I say if you know the truth, complete realization is total obliteration. Our just is apparentness isness. We're an illusion within an illusion looking in on itself. So it's basically like, how do you, I say the final revelation is death. I always thought death would be like a nice catalyst for kind of becoming into the nothingness, realizing the nothingness of yourself and of apparentness, the reality that we assume and take for granted when we grow up, and so many human beings have done throughout time. I don't really know too many people who go through this line of reasoning like I have. I'm pretty much the only one. I mean, I've met like one person maybe who's ever talked about this kind of stuff, but never really I've never seen them go in detail like I have. I mean, they just kind of say there is no thing, but to my knowledge, I'm the only person who argues this kind of stuff on any serious level. And it's kind of funny because I probably never would have gone down this kind of thinking if it wasn't for my particular interests. I started thinking about it when I learned about black metal. So I found a black metal band called Zaster, and I went on YouTube, and back then it was around like 2010, 2008, maybe around there is when I first started getting into this stuff. So I was on a YouTube video, and I would comment to people below the video and talk about things because, you know, maybe they have similar interests to me. And it was basically this conversation about someone was saying there is no thing, like there's a void. But they would believe in like a self. They would believe in like this spirit entity that would be here after death, or something like that. But I this was very new to me, so I kind of was very interested because I never really thought. I don't know. It just interested me. I just clung on to that from the get-go. I thought it was very interesting, and I argued with him at first, but I could not really come up with anything satisfactory, so I kind of just ended up agreeing with him. It's kind of like one of those rare things where, you know, a conversation actually did matter on the internet and with people. It actually affected me and influenced me to thinking more about this stuff, just from my own sheer personal interests of black metal. That's how it started. It's kind of bizarre, isn't it? So I went that step further and said, no, there is no self. It's all void. There is no thing. So he wouldn't even go that far. And I don't know if that person still follows me or knows about me or, you know, what they think now. But I went the step further and said there is no thing. A void remains a void because it is a void. So this was, I kind of formulated the void thing. Is a void because it is a void, remains a void. There is no thing. In response to I call it the ostensibly insoluble question of, you know, what is existence? Where did all this come from? Can never and never will be righteously answered because it doesn't exist. So yeah, sorry. You know, it's kind of a thing I've worked on. I feel good about it, but what does it mean anyways? Right? Okay. So I know this is kind of like very strange and maybe a lot of people haven't heard about it, but just thought it'd be worth talking about because I've kind of come to new conclusions and I'm starting to think things are a little bit less uncertain. So like I said, if you can undo logic and you can say language is insufficient to truly know the truth, then there it is. Or if logic can even be used to discover anything. There was something else I wanted to say, but I kind of went on a tangent and I forgot. That's what happens. So there's the guy, and that's how I came into all this. Yeah, I've been thinking about it since around 2010. That's when I first came around, like first summarized most of this stuff, and then I kind of, you know the anti-nihilism thing. I kind of you know, you could ask why do I even bother with that stuff, but to me it's like, what's up, like, it's a challenge to me. So like I take it as a challenge. Like I'm not gonna, I don't want to just like say, oh, I'm not gonna mess with any of this because, you know, there is no thing. The apparentness isness. I take it as a challenge, so I want to be practical within this illusion of an illusion, looking in on itself, is what I would describe consciousness like. But, you know, if anything were to be real, I think, you know, a feeling is a feeling. So, yeah. I want to take it seriously while I'm within this. The illusion is within me, yeah, all of that. So that's my answer to that. I take it as a challenge to be practical. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. I can just link some of my stuff I've written about it. This is probably a sloppy video, so I'm sorry. I just thought it'd be worth sharing. Stuff I've thought about for a long time. I've never seen anyone truly discuss on the most deep fundamental level. I've heard people like in Mendham say like the closest he ever came to answering the origin genesis, what is like existence, how did that happen, by saying it was like an error code. Like, well, like if there was something, of course there would be some. Like if something existed, something exists. So if it's not no thing. But that's assuming. In my response to that, I say a void remains a void because it is a void. It is no thing. It. So there is no error. There is no thing. And no thing remains no thing because it is no thing. It's airtight. There's no budge. There is no error. So that's my response to that. And I haven't really heard too much else. I kind of on my blog, you might see something about what I talk about uncertainty because I've been more thinking about it, and this is kind of my overcoming of the uncertainty of people will say it just is. And to me, that just means a feeling is a feeling. You haven't really defined existence. You're just saying a feeling is a feeling. So that's my undoing of the uncertainty of that. So people will say it's infinite, all eternal. A feeling is a feeling. That's all you got. I don't think that's enough to say anything if there were existence. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. But a feeling is a feeling. I don't think existence, I mean, how would you know if your premise is wrong, right? That's all your reference is. That's it. So it's my undoing of the uncertainty. So I'm pretty proud about that. For a while I thought it would be kind of impossible, but it's looking a little bit better. I somehow managed to do it. Thank you for watching. Sorry, I need to flesh it out a bit more in my head. So I took a bunch of notes and all sorts of stuff. Notes. But I just want to flesh it out a bit more. I'm sure there's more to be fleshed out, like what is logic and is language sufficient, and people are gonna have a debate over that kind of stuff. But ultimately, if I can't convince you that there is no thing, I can convince you of a little bit of uncertainty, at the very least, probably, about your assumptions of existence and what is a thing. And yeah, so if you're gonna say it just is, to me that's just saying a feeling is a feeling. I don't think that answers what is a thing. Because, how would you know if you're wrong? Right? That's all you have. You just have a feeling is a feeling. You don't know. That's it. So, thank you for watching.